Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for joining me. It's Anita Kaiser here from Anita Kaiser Wellness. I thought I'd talk to you today briefly about yoga and trauma and how it all works, right? And so before I get started, just for some of you who may not know, I am a certified yoga instructor, and outside of our travel time, I've been teaching yoga in a studio for 5 years now, and I've been an adult yoga teacher for 8 years. So I want to talk about what yoga is really good for, right? I mean, we all know, we've been told, yoga is amazing for stress reduction, right? Yoga helps lower the cortisol level in your body, which creates more health, right? Cortisol, the stress hormone. And for those of us who come from a trauma background, the cortisol levels get messed up when we grow up in trauma, right? It's the fight or flight where we get stuck in that flight or freeze, both of those being trauma responses modality, and our body makes that the new norm, right? So what I wanted to share is when you're just beginning your healing journey, and you think yoga, I'm going to go take some yoga, and it's a great idea. But what happens in yoga is you start to slow down and you start to settle into your body. And if you don't do that on a regular basis, if that's like your first time doing that, your body starts to begin to feel safe, and often all that emotion that we've been pushing down or disconnecting from starts to bubble up. So maybe you've been to a yoga class where someone has started to cry. And I know I've been to many classes that I've taught where I could see people having a release. And I think it's one thing if you went hoping for that, right? Looking for a release, and you have some tears while you're on your mat. It's a whole other thing when you come to yoga to try and release that trauma and are so overwhelmed by what goes on in your body that you find yourself sobbing, and it becomes this massive thing. And there's nothing wrong with feeling that emotion, but the yoga teacher at the front of the room may not have any idea what to do for you with your trauma. And in fact, it's not her job to hold, or his job. It's not their job to hold that trauma for you. So there are definitely trauma-sensitive yoga classes. If you want to use yoga to help work through your trauma, it's an amazing tool, but you want to make sure that you have someone that has a connection to trauma or has been trained or understands the way that works so that they can hold that space appropriately. And a class situation isn't necessarily the appropriate place. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's something that comes up a fair bit in my work. And it's the same thing with emotional freedom technique, right? The tapping that I do with many of my clients. When you first start, that tapping can create an immense release of emotions because you're connecting in and you're allowing the body to let go of all that stuff that it's been holding on to. So I just wanted to put that out there for you. If you're someone who's trying to use yoga instead of some kind of one-to-one situation, some one-to-one coaching or therapy or modality, whatever works for you, whatever you choose, I would advise you to find a safe place for that, to go to a trauma sensitive class or someone who's specifically been trained in trauma, because a group scenario, a group room, a group class is just not the right place for that. You'll end up leaving not feeling heard, not feeling cared for. And I know when you're first looking at your trauma, it's fucking scary, right? And intense. And it takes so much courage to begin that journey. I don't want you to get sidetracked and to tuck it all away again. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, that's it. All right. Take care. Thanks so much for joining me today.